guys, this is Shelby with the Rogers Public Library. So this week for Full Steam Ahead, I want to talk to you guys about bridges. So bridges are pretty simple, right? It's basically just a structure that crosses an obstacle, right? So a bridge might cross over a body of water, like a lake or a river, or even the ocean in some places, or it might cross over a gorge, right? Just a kind of a deep area that's not necessarily full of water, but that you can't really cross easily. So the oldest surviving bridges are made out of stone, just because stone lasts a really long time. But bridges were being built way before that out of wood, probably just out of logs that fell over or were chopped over to cross over creeks or rivers. But wood doesn't last a really long time, especially when it's in a really moist environment like a creek. It's gonna rot because of the water. So there's a couple different types of bridges, right? The simplest is what's called a beam bridge, right? And so you can think that it's just a single piece of stuff, right? So that might be a steel girder or a log, or in this case, a piece of cardboard that crosses something, right? And you say that the section, right? So you have supports, right? These are the things that hold the bridge up. And then you say this area between the supports is called a span. So you can have a bridge that has just one span, or you can have bridges that have a lot of spans. And then, of course, the actual surface of the bridge that people walk on or cars walk on is called a deck. So I'm going to do a little test really quick. I'm going to put rocks on this bridge. How many we can put on here before it starts to fall, right? And you can already see it's bowing pretty significantly. You have 4 rocks, 5, 6. Okay, let's call it there, right? I think, yeah, so that kind of shows you, right? Beam bridges aren't really strong, right? And because of that, there's different types of bridges that are better at supporting weights. One of them is called an arch bridge, right? So it has this weird shape called an arch, right? So basically half of a circle underneath it, and that just distributes the weight. So instead of weight just going down on the beam, it's being pushed sideways. And that means the bridge as a whole because the weight is distributed over more of the bridge can hold more weight. There's another version of this called the truss bridge, right? So, I mean, it's not an arch bridge, right? It's different. But it's a similar structure that is used to distribute weight more evenly. In this case, not over an arch, but over a truss, right? So a truss is just basically triangles connected to each other. If you ever seen a bridge or a crane before, that's basically the big steel structure that holds up the crane. That's a truss. And this is a truss, right? Put logs on it. Okay, so in our case, it doesn't look like the structure held up very well, just because the straw came undone. Right. So that isn't necessarily related to the way that trusses work, but more just the way that the bridge was made, and I think having to do with some of the straws being longer than other straws. But anyway, so that's the truss bridge. There's other types of bridge too, like suspension bridges. This Milan Viaduct, this is in southern France. It's a suspension bridge, right? So it has these really long cables that are used to hold the bridge up. Another suspension bridge is the Golden Gate Bridge. This is a really, really big bridge in California. It's really cool. I've gotten to drive on it before. But it's held up by suspension cables, and it also has elements of truss bridges in it as well, right? That's what these things down here are. But I'm going to show you guys how to make a truss bridge just like that one. And the way that one is built was something called strawbees. The strawbees are basically just little circles that you can use to connect straws together. So they look like this, right? This is a strawbee, this is a strawbee. These are already mostly set up. Right, so I have little strawberries in the end of these guys. And arrange one into a triangle. Stick this guy in here. Right. Stick another strawberry in. That holds it in place. So that just keeps it together. Okay. We're gonna do the same thing on this side. So that's half of the bridge. And then I'm gonna work on the other half. And you'll notice this one isn't super sturdy. It's kind of slipping around. And that's because these strawberries, right, they're made out of paper, but the ones over here, they're made out of plastic. So these work fine, right? The paper ones do, but the plastic ones are thicker, so they hold the straws in place a little bit better. And because of that, what I've done to make the bridge stay in place a little bit better is I got little pieces of straws. I just stick them in the, I guess you'd call them joints, right? The places where the strawberries meet. And that makes it a little bit sturdier. Well, yeah, that's good. Right, so there's our truss bridge, right? This one's a little bit shorter, right? It's one triangle instead of two triangles, or I guess three, depending on how you look at it, right? So, strawberries, you can go to the store and get a kit like this one that we have. We use it for programs. We want to keep using it for programs. We're not giving that out. But what we are doing is we're making them out of paper, right? Because we have a little die cut that lets us do that. And you can pick up these little paper strawberries and straws to make your own little bridges. We basically make, whatever you want, whatever you can manage to make with just with the materials at your house, and to do engineering challenges of your own. But that's what I have for you guys this week. I hope you learned something. I'll see you next Wednesday.